also work in the news, so newsman is kind of
I know,
reductive.
but listen, you need to cut me just a little slack because number one, I am 72.
You don't look it. You look like you're in your mid-40s.
Oh, thank you so much. Oh, gosh, in that case, well, I'm going to call it news lady.
Well, that's also condescending.
But news person, you're right. You know why? It's an extra syllable.
Too much effort to make 52% of the population see themselves in an aspirational way.
Please, I apologize. You're putting me down tremendously well, and I admire your intelligence and drive.
You recently announced that you were running for
so
president in 2020. Why?
I ran in 2016. I didn't succeed to the level that I desired.
For those who don't know, what is a libertarian other than
For the record, like, this is the real life Tony Stark. The real life Tony Stark is not fucking Elon Musk. The reason why I love this man, or loved this man, is because this is what libertarians are like in the wild. Okay? This is a libertarian who stayed true to his degenerate opinions and stayed true to his beliefs. Okay?
white guy too cheap to pay for birth control?
A libertarian. You are a free individual, free to do and think and believe as you choose.
In 2016, you lost to Gary Johnson.
Yes.
How did that feel to lose the unpopular vote?
It didn't feel like anything. I had a good 9 months of national attention because really, that's all that matters to me.
Did you think Trump was going to be president?
Yes, I hoped he was actually because the alternative was not very palatable to me.
Did you think
I
he?
will not tell you why because it will implicate me in horrific
Sounds like you're
situations.
asking me to inquire, but I'm not going to.
I am actually because I'm not sure I'm going to say it or not.
Well, it
Do you
sounds like
understand?
you're egging me on to ask you. I want to respect your privacy.
I am actually because I'm not sure I will say it. I've never said it ever.
Well, if you want me
not
to.
in 6 years since I left police have I ever stated why.
Do you want to?
Absolutely.
Okay, well then you're welcome.
Okay, so when I went on the run in police,
This is so good. She's doing a bit. He's not. Okay? He is like this. Like, this is how he is, dude. It's great. Please inquire about what I cannot say, the unspeakable truths that I'm literally dying to say. This man is fucking insane. Oh, dude, no. Some would have you believe he was the most sane, dude.
I had friends in the U.S. Embassy and police. I knew what was coming down. I'm not stupid. I had arranged with the head of security. I was going to come in. He said, "Sir, we have it from the highest authority. We are not to allow you entry into the U.S. Embassy." Understand me. Who was the highest authority of the State Department? Hillary Clinton. I'm an American citizen with a American passport. I'm sorry. I'm not wanted in America. I've got no crimes in America. Is it not a reason to say, I don't think I'm going to vote for you?
And yet you're here now.
For a month and a half, I was on the run. The reason
Wow, dude. It's crazy.
the government wanted to collect me was that after they had raided my property in 2012 in the jungle, shot my dog, abused me, destroyed $500,000 worth of my property over a bogus charge, I was pissed off. And so I donated to many secretaries within the government laptop computers, really nice ones that were preloaded with viral spyware. Within a week, the entire government computer system was under my control. I was watching, monitoring, listening. I was looking for information that they had set me up for that raid. I didn't find that. I did find out that the Minister of National Defense was the largest drug trafficker in all of Central America. And the Minister of Immigration, the largest human trafficker.
Well, we don't want to get killed by them either, so we're probably not.
Okay, first of all, this is the beauty of John McAfee. Okay, first of all, most sane libertarian. Okay, most sane libertarian. Now, what I find incredible about what he's saying is that, like, first of all, I do literally believe that the American cybersecurity protocols are so devastatingly poor that I unironically do believe that someone could literally do this, like what he's talking about. Okay, like a fishing expedition with just donated computers. Like that would not surprise me in the least bit. I was talking about the Belize government. Oh, never mind. Oh, then I totally do. I totally see whether that happened or not. I misunderstood. I think it could definitely happen in the American government as well. But having said that, I don't understand. Is he saying that like that the Department of Immigration in Belize is the largest human trafficker? Is that what he's saying? Or he's saying that America, he found out from the Belize government that
over a bogus charge. I was pissed.
You're here now.
Is it not a reason to say, I don't think I
why would like the government of Belize have this information? No, he's saying it was America.
want to vote for you?
And yet you're here now.
For a month and a half, I was on the run. The reason that the government wanted to collect me was that after they had raided my property in 2012 in the jungle, shot my dog, abused me, destroyed $500,000 worth of my property over a bogus charge, I was pissed off. And so I donated to many secretaries within the government laptop computers, really nice ones that were preloaded with viral spyware. Within a week, the entire government computer system was under my control. I was watching, monitoring, listening. I was looking for information that they had set me up for that raid. I didn't find that. I did find out that the Minister of National Defense was the largest drug trafficker in all of Central America. And the Minister of Immigration, the largest human trafficker.
We don't want to get killed by them either, so we're probably not going to
That's fine, that's fine.
It was getting a little hot in John McAfee's compound, so we decided to step outside.
Cheers
To you.
to you. Let's get into Bitcoin.
Okay.
Explain Bitcoin to me in terms you would use if it were real.
It is real.
You tweeted that if the price of Bitcoin doesn't go to $1 million by 2020,
I will eat my member. Yes.
you will eat your own.
Eat my dick. Now, I may choose the mode if I choose to get a Bangkok prostitute and ask her, would you please eat my dick over the next 5 years? That's fine.
That's different than eating your own.
Is it now?
Because if a Bangkok prostitute ate your, you wouldn't be eating your own.
Do I not have the privilege of subordinating my task to a subordinate?
To someone who doesn't know a lot about Bitcoin.
Dude, I love libertarians. Oh, come on, dude. I'm giving a subordinate the privilege. Like, yeah, when I said I'll eat my own dick, what I actually meant was I'll have my dick sucked by a prostitute from Bangkok.
Bitcoin.
Yes.
It sounds like you, John McAfee, want to eat your own.
Eating my dick is not something that is difficult. For me eating it, I have no interest in doing that.
So it isn't that you, John McAfee, want to eat your own dick. It's that you believe in the power of Bitcoin, so much so that you'll put your dick on the table, chop it up, put it in your mouth, swallow. If Bitcoin does not.
If it doesn't reach at least $1 million by the end of 2020.
What if, God forbid, you get prostate cancer, have to remove your dick anyway?
Well, then I won't be able to eat it, will I?
Well, you can have the surgeon put it aside and then you can eat it, but
Well,
either way.
I don't think people would expect me to eat a 2-year-old dead dick. I'm sorry.
If John McAfee is to eat it, it's going to be the freshest dick.
And
Right
eat it
away.
raw like I eat sushi.
Farm to table, to mouth.
Farm to table, to mouth.
If you could murder someone else, who would it be?
Wait, I wonder. Yeah, he killed himself to get out of the dick eating. There you go, boys. We solved the mystery.
Why?
It would be the entire leadership of the Sinaloa cartel.
Off the record, did you kill your neighbor in Belize?
I did not.
Why don't we take a bathroom break? Keep your mic on. Feel free to.
Like the HBO fucking miniseries.
Keep your mic on so that we can hear you while you're in the bathroom talking to your wife about murdering everybody, including all the people here on the set, right? No. That was funny. I'm sorry. That was a joke.
It's so funny if you
And I
didn't
have
all
done
have
this
guns.
so many times. Do you think that I would forget that I am wired and mic'd and I'm going to say something while I'm in the bathroom? Please, God. I'm sorry, but go ahead.
Let's say I'm a female voter. I'm fed up with both the Democrats and the Republicans.
That was.
I don't.
That's like, haha, it's funny. Except he did literally murder his neighbor. So. And also, she is under threat now.
No, you're wanted for murder in Belize. How do you win my vote?
Well, first of all, I'll tell you, I fled Belize because they were wanting to collect me for a person of interest. That's all.
A person of interest.
But I'm not a politician, and I don't have to be one. I'm just a human being running for president.
What are your thoughts on the Me Too movement?
The Me Too movement.
Do you
Actually, this chatter is correct. He did not murder his neighbor. He let a subordinate handle it. That is true.
believe that alleged victims of assault should be believed?
I got to
Tell
pee
you
so
about
bad. Okay, I'll be
assault.
back in a second.
I have been assaulted more than any man on this f***ing planet that's still alive. Do I complain? No.
So that's a no? You share many qualities with President Trump. You're both iconic American brands. You both have been accused of sexual assault. And you both have been rumored to engage in sex play with bodily waste. Why should Americans vote for you?
Well, obviously, forcibly forcing myself on someone, that would be an issue. But that's absolutely untrue. As to the rest, what I do sexually, please God, is that not my business?
Your body, your choice.
It's my body, my choice.
Why do you keep touching your gun?
No, I'm sorry, I always do that. Does that concern you?
Yeah.
Why?
No, please.
No, I'm sorry, because my hand goes there.
Everything okay? You guys are cool?
If
All
these
right.
guys are not cool, we're all in trouble.
Okay. What is? Okay. Hypothetically, please don't shoot.
They never
What would the hand signal be if you were in trouble?
do. It would be like,
No.
it's okay.
Okay.
All right, so, no, if you're in trouble, I'm part of them.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
not letting these bastards take all the heat.
All right.
Why? I'm one additional
Do
gun.
you think? Now, please don't pull out your firearm again
I will.
without telling
yes,
me.
ma'am. I'm sorry.
Do you
Wait,
think
what did
that
he
you
do?
should have a firearm on you and while you're drinking?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Women get shit on a lot in our culture. You know what that's like.
I do.
I think you.
Wait, he pulled out his gun?
My business?
Your body, your choice.
It's my body, my choice.
Why do you keep touching your gun?
No, I'm sorry, I always do that. Does that concern you?
Yeah.
Why?
No, please.
No, I'm sorry, because my hand goes there.
Everything okay? You guys are cool?
If
All
these
right.
guys are not cool, we're all in trouble.
Okay. What is? Okay. Hypothetically, please don't shoot.
They never
What would the hand signal be if you were in trouble?
do. It would be like,
No.
it's okay.
Okay.
All right, so, no, if you're in trouble, I'm part of them.
Okay.
Oh my god, he can't even fucking reholster it, dude! What the fuck?
I'm
Okay.
not letting these
Bro, he's literally too drunk to reholster it. Oh fucking Christ, dude. Yo, sanest libertarian once again, boys.
bastards take all the heat.
All right.
Why? I'm one additional
Do
gun.
you think? Now, please don't pull out your firearm
I
again
will.
without telling
yes,
me.
ma'am. I'm sorry.
Do you think that you should have a firearm on you and while you're drinking?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Women get shit on a lot in our culture. You know what that's like.
I do.
I think you would make a better president than Donald Trump.
John McAfee is a Washington outsider who's tired of politics as usual. A tech entrepreneur, alleged murderer, and businessman who might not grab you by the pussy. If you're a woman thinking about voting for Donald Trump in 2020, think again.
Women get shit on a lot in our culture, and I know what that tastes like.
John,
Yes.
that was beautiful.
Yes.
I'd like it again a little softer, and I'd also like you to mention that you're pro-choice.
Right. This is actually going way better than I thought. I don't think these people are trying to f us. I don't. I think that they're truly going to do one of the greatest documentaries. Let me warm it.
Jenna Friedman said, I didn't really know him and don't want to say much considering allegations against him, but in my experience, he was funny and charismatic and the people in his life seemed happy to be there. I hope he's at peace now, or at least eating shit on some island off the grid. R.I.P. Hashtag Mccaffe. I mean, he's crazy. He is a truly fascinating person. A dying breed. Definitely. You know, like old school, like Archer kind of points to this a little bit. Like old school, like in the 60s, 70s, there was the type of guy who like went and fucking operated a brothel in Bangkok or Thailand or whatever. Like this is that kind of libertarian. And quite literally a dying breed. Too weird to live, too rare to die. He's going to come back in 20 years with an alien baby.
This up. And this is Turner Broadcasting. I mean, this is huge. Hundreds of millions of viewers. Now, this isn't big shit here.
He's literally a pedo. Dude, we already know he's a libertarian. Like, you don't need to repeat it. Okay? What a redundancy. Like, I'm so confused by why you are adamant about repeating this redundancy for some reason. I mean, he is a right libertarian, bro. That's it. So there is a 4-part documentary on the life of John McAfee that is pretty good from what I understand. And I want to watch it. Now, I've watched many documentaries on John McAfee, so I already know that I don't even know if I can watch this. Now, the reason why I say this is because much like American imperialism and American imperialist history, everything that John McAfee has done is a violation of the terms of service on Twitch. Everything. Like, from hiring prostitutes to take fat shits in his mouth on a hammock, to murdering his neighbor, to just pretty much everything he did all the time. They are all violations of Twitch's terms of service. So I am a little worried about watching this, but I will. I will watch it regardless because I am brave. The last thing he posted was a Q, and he held metadata leading to vaccine 5G research. Yeah, his dead man switch or whatever the fuck was an Instagram post with Q and a bunch of like weird shit, I think, that they uncovered on 4chan, maybe? Wait, Jenna talked to him while he was in prison? No way.
Election day is coming up, and I hope you are all planning on voting. I know a lot of nerds are probably already telling you to vote, and when I do it, I just sound like your mom telling you to make sure that you wash your hands after you go poo-poo. But that's because she was right, and none of us listened to her. And now we're all trapped in our homes, making low-budget web shows as we wait out a global pandemic. So just listen to Mom and or me, who's probably the same age as her, and vote, please. I'm not gonna tell you who to vote for.
Boring.
Potato might.
We both eat poop, McAfee 2020.
This next guest is in his 70s and thinks COVID is a hoax, so I'm really glad we got him on the show before it was too late. Cautionary tale and man responsible for fucking up your mom's desktop, John McAfee. For those people who don't know you, which I assume is most people, what would you say is the secret to your success?
Success is being able to talk to people and not give a flying fuck what they think.
Are you pro-life besides the 2 men you killed?
No, I'm not pro-life. Absolutely not.
Do you have any advice for aspiring politicians who've also been accused of sexual assault?
Okay, this is over. I'm sorry.
What do you want to talk about, John?
Well, the most insightful thing, I think, is knitting. Can we talk about that first? I mean, I've taken more drugs than God. And grandmothers knit. Look at their lives. Can't walk anymore. Their knees are bad. They haven't had a dick in 25 fucking years. I mean, and yet.
Whose fault is that, John?
I'll fuck any grandmother that comes by.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how old are the women you fuck?
On a scale of 1 to 10, how
Oh my god. Bro, she's so funny. What the fuck?
old? I'm sorry, it's a bad scale. Repeat the question, Jenna.
What are your thoughts on the death penalty when someone hasn't killed your dog?
Oh, dude, this is very good. Like, this is very, very good. She's
The
fucking
death
hilarious.
penalty is a government mandated issue. And whatever that person is killed or done, I think there should be a death penalty, for example, for wearing masks. Because what signal are you sending to our children? That doesn't mean that it's going to happen. But yes, if I would put that as number one. Wear a mask, socially distance yourself. Yes, there should be a death penalty for that.
There's currently a death penalty for not wearing your mask. It's only on other people.
Oh, I see. Well, you really are funny. It's just that you don't come across that way.
Stay safe, John McAfee. Please
Okay.
wear a mask. I care about your health. Potato. Why do you like McAfee? Just because you can sit at a bar and eat a piece of shit with him doesn't mean he's a good leader. Why does everyone have to be friends with their president?
Notice how different his demeanor is now? I mean, is it? Because, like, he's been deranged for a long ass time. Get her on the show. Who is she? Jenna what? Jenna Friedman. She's pretty funny. I have never heard of her. All right, let's start.
Okay. Ay.
This is John McAfee, and he's lived one hell of a life. He's the creator of the Mccaffe antivirus software, but that's the least interesting thing about him. That's because in 2012, his Central American jungle compound was raided by Belize's gang suppression unit because they thought he was cooking up meth. Then 6 months later, he became an international fugitive after his neighbor was found dead and he was named as the lead suspect. Following a media shitstorm, he was arrested by Interpol in Guatemala for illegally entering the country.
Where are they taking you, John?
To jail.
With some quick thinking, he managed to escape being deported back to Belize by faking a heart attack. This gave his lawyer enough time to file an appeal so he can return to the United States instead. Now, if that sounds crazy, and it does, get this.
Bro, come on. Like, he's just... I mean, he's a monster as an individual, okay? But, like, also... I mean, he's just fucking... He's a deranged psycho who is... Like, how are you not going to watch what he does next? You know what I mean?
A couple of years later, he ran for president.
All right, so is it official? Are you running for president? Have you filed the papers to run for president?
I filed the papers on Tuesday. I'm officially running, yes, ma'am.
People say libertarians are isolationists.
That intro barely scratches the surface of the absolute insanity that has been John McAfee's life. Okay, let me give you the who, what, where, when, and why in as little words as possible. So he was born in England on September 18th, 1945. A little while later, his family moved to Roanoke, Virginia. He did a degree in mathematics at Roanoke College. Then he started working for a string of tech companies and government agencies. NASA, Xerox, Booz Allen Hamilton, to name a few. He's constantly losing jobs during this time because of drugs and booze. For example, he was selling coke and snorting it while at Omex. He adds that he lost his job at Missouri Pacific Railroad after showing up to work after doing a whole bag of DMT. Oh yeah, there's this great clip of him talking about how he got his job at Lockheed Martin. I'm gonna play it for you.
That they gave you security clearance, I guess, because you had nothing to hide.
Right. Because I'd had a very checkered past prior to joining Lockheed Martin. I assumed that there would be no chance in hell I would ever get security clearance. They asked me very, revealing questions. Had I ever had sex with sheep or dogs? I mean, incredible things. Had I ever taken drugs? The answer was yes. What kind? Almost every kind. How much? A lot. Have you ever sold drugs? Yes. So I assumed I'd never get the clearance, but I did, and it came in very quickly.
During the mid-1980s, he read about the first known PC virus.
I don't. How did he actually work at Lockheed Martin? I mean, I guess you could, because to work as a defense contractor for the American government, he's not wrong. Like, they ask you insane questions, but I fucking doubt that he was able to get security clearance. Like, that's crazy. I guess they don't give a fuck when you're literally, actually, unironically a genius. He's still white though? No, you guys are crazy, dude. They only care if you lie? No, part of the reason why they care about the security clearance is because they want you to make sure they want to make sure that you're not compromised, okay? Or that you could be compromised. And I guess the reason why they were like, yeah, we don't give a fuck is because he admits to it. So he doesn't even need to. He will never be compromised if he openly admits it. You know what I mean? Yeah, this chatter is correct. You get security clearance if you don't lie and can't be exploited. And I guess he can't be exploited because he's just like, yeah, fuck yeah, I sold drugs and I fucked the sheep or whatever the fuck. But also, most importantly, someone with that level, someone with that kind of a background is not getting a security clearance unless they are legitimately unique. They are going to bring a tremendous amount of value by working there.
Virus called the Pakistani Brain. Then he hired a few programmers and they put together an antivirus software for him. He called it Virus Scan. At the time, he was running an online BBS called Homebase, and he gave Virus Scan away for free to Homebase users. For free, you say? How did he make money? Well, he's a crafty dude, so he added fine print stipulating that corporations had to pay for a licensing fee. He had a hunch that people would install his software onto their computers at work, and he was right. Soon he was getting more checks from companies than he had time to cash out. His next step was to establish McAfee Associates. To market his business, he appeared on news programs talking about the dangers viruses pose to the financial stake of the nation's largest companies. Lots of doomsday stuff. His big break came in 1991, and it was thanks to the Michelangelo virus.
When you're looking for a biological virus, you use a microscope or some other laboratory device to try and identify the virus. But when you're looking for a computer...
Didn't he literally make some viruses as well? I mean...
virus, it's even more difficult because you can't see it at all.
Computer users won't be joining in all the celebrations for Michelangelo's birthday this Friday because on that day, a new and deadly virus is scheduled to strike computers around the world.
So how does the virus infect your computer? Well, it hitches a ride on a floppy disk. What you're about to see is Michelangelo destroying 80 megabytes of data, 80 million bits of information. This American student, Robert Morris, is one of the few virus authors who've been caught and convicted.
Typically, these are antisocial people with a severe emotional problem, and their
I mean, he ain't wrong about that.
creations are getting more difficult to detect and more destructive all the time.
So what's going to happen tomorrow? Nobody knows.
Well, what do you do if you think this might happen to your computer?
The Michelangelo virus was discovered in Australia. It was a boot sector virus that operated at the BIOS level of DOS system.
Oh my God, this dude is the most Canadian dude I have ever seen, dude. My man literally said a boot. Like he's, wow. That is the most Canadian person on the planet. Wait, oh, he said the boot sector? Did I misunderstand what he was saying?
The virus was discovered in Australia. It was a boot sector virus that operated.
Oh my God, I gotta take a break from streaming. I swear to God, my processes is not functioning anymore. My brain literally has stopped functioning in this past week. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. I cannot fucking hear things. No, I will not apologize to Canada. A boot is something that Canadians say, but he said a boot sector virus. It's over. It's over for me. I think my brain no longer works.
At the BIOS level of DOS systems. It was designed to lay dormant until it would strike on the 6th of March, on the same day as the famous artist's birthday. McAfee prophesied that the virus could destroy as many as 5 million computers around the world. But once March 6th arrived, only 10 to 20,000 computers were reported as infected. As a result, McAfee was taken to task by the press and by his colleagues. Although he cried wolf, it paid off. 6 months later, his revenues increased tenfold, and he controlled 67% of the antivirus market. However, the investors wanted him out. The thing is, the guy was a great marketer, but dog shit as a CEO. At McAfee Associates, sex contests, sword fights, and Wiccan ceremonies were the norm, and the company's spirit was a reflection of John's. Anyway, by 1992, the investors wanted to take the company to the next level, so they replaced him as CEO. Later, he cashed out for $100 million. By the way, if he just waited, he could have made quadruple that. That's because McAfee Associates eventually sold for $7 billion. Other than creating a before-its-time chat program called Powwow, the rest of the 90s were a relatively quiet period for John McAfee. Okay, so, by the 2000s, his life starts to get progressively more weird. All of a sudden, he decided to become a yoga guru. He opened a yoga and meditation retreat in his 10,000 square foot, $25 million Colorado's Rocky Mansion. There he housed 200 loyal disciples completely for free.
There's a really good documentary that covers all of this stuff that we just saw extensively, by the way. Like all of this. It is really, even this part that he's like breezing through are very interesting.
And based off what I've read about it, the whole thing screams cult-like to me.
Need. And jealousy is all about the fear of losing all of these pleasant things which you have obtained.
He wrote 4 books during this time, although he later denounced all of them as trash. By 2003, he became bored of the life of a spirituality guru, so he decided to invent a sport.
Are these your very favorite toys?
I would say so.
In McAfee's case, that meant millions he spent promoting the sport of aerotrekking, tiny motorized kites that enthusiasts fly to explore the remotest corners of the country. For them, McAfee built this playground in the desert.
Within 4 years, he spent more than $11 million building a massive aerotrekking wonderland. There he built 4 airplane hangars, 2 airstrips, a 5-bedroom villa, a cafe, internet lounge, greenhouse, and an organic goods store. Additionally, the village was home to his collection of vintage cars worth an estimated $400,000. On top of all of that, he built a network of 8 airports connecting remote areas of New Mexico to Arizona. He also established a flight school, which was at the center of a wrongful death lawsuit that caused the whole thing to come crashing down. This happened after his 22-year-old nephew, Joel Gordon Patow, flew into a canyon wall with a 61-year-old student named Robert Gilson. Gilson's family later sued McAfee for $5 million in a wrongful death lawsuit. They argued that McAfee was liable because he made Patow an instructor, even though he didn't have a pilot's license and only had about 65 hours of flight training.
Okay, listen. This is literally at the heart of libertarianism. Like, he literally thinks like these sorts of regulatory burdens are just over encroachments from the nanny state, okay? This is what I mean when I say, here is a man who lived by libertarian principles all the fucking way. This This is your brain on libertarianism.
Training. After another lawsuit from a man who tripped on his property, McAfee devised a plan to escape from his legal troubles. So in 2008, he announced to the media that he was broke.
John McAfee, like many people in the country, got hooked on flipping properties for profit. With a fortune reported to be in excess of $100 million, he got sucked into the greatest real estate bubble the United States has ever seen.
I bought some properties in Utah and,
Brilliant, by the way.
Doubled and tripled my money in a matter of months. And I go, well, sure, you can make money at this.
His passion for real estate became all-consuming as McAfee amassed a trove of high-end properties across the U.S.
You were doing what everybody else was doing, only on a larger dollar scale.
Yes, spent an enormous amount of money building things which really had no utility other than possibly as art. So it's house as art, which in a booming economy you might actually be able to sell and make some money. But in a recession,
he sold everything he owned on his massive aero trekking complex in a series of highly publicized, single-day absolute auctions. Then he announced that he was moving to Belize. This was all for show. As Joshua Davis puts it, he figured that if he were out of the country, he'd be less of a target. And he knew that, should he lose a case, it would be harder to collect money if he lived overseas. So that's it for part 1. Join me for part 2 when that comes out, and potentially for part 3 and...
Okay, so to the people who are saying like, well, I like John McAfee except for the murder. One does not simply like John McAfee without the murder. You can't. It's an integral part of his personality. Okay? This is it. Like, it's literally the whole, like, his entire identity revolves around doing shit like this. Okay?
デジタルパワーが生み出すネットワークネットワーク一等賢い沖のビジネス法
Last video, we left off with McAfee's decision to move to Belize. Like I said in that video, it was most likely in order to escape his legal troubles. Before arriving in Belize, he bought a beachfront property on Ambergris Key. After a couple of years, he had already established a number of businesses in the country. But his most ambitious project was called Quorum X. Quorum X began after he met a 31-year-old ethno...
So this is the shady shit. Didn't he sexually assault her, right? Wasn't that
botanist named Allison Adonisio. They
or
struck
am
up a
I
conversation,
misremembering?
and she told him about her doctorate research into anti-quorum sensing. Quorum sensing is a process used by infectious bacteria to communicate through pheromone signals in order to synchronize a pathogenic attack. However, with plants that possess anti-quorum sensing compounds, it's possible to block communication between bacteria, thus preventing an infection. Plants with anti-quorum sensing compounds could likely be found spread along the shores of the New River, and were said to have been used by Belizean medicine men for generations. McAfee was sold. He offered to bankroll her research with the intention of eventually using her findings to develop a commercial product. She happily accepted. Prior to this, in February of 2010, he purchased 100 acres of marshland about 10 miles upriver from Lamanai. Over the next several months, he spent millions filling in the land and building several thatched-roof bungalows. This is where he set up Quorum X's lab. He also built a main house for himself and invited Adonisio to stay in it.
Bro, people, see this in video games. Like, he unironically lived life like a fucking video game character, dude. I mean, this is like straight up fucking Far Cry villain shit.
McAfee, a man who always travels with an entourage, also brought along his posse, which included his longtime girlfriend, Jennifer Irwin. But soon, Quorum X went south. Something changed in McAfee's personality once he settled in Belize's jungle. Prior to that, he presented himself as a clean-cut, freewheeling adventurer. Then he suddenly rebranded himself into a Colonel Kurtz-esque figure who surrounded himself with a retinue of prostitutes and local gangsters. I emailed John McAfee himself to find out more, but he brushed me off. So instead, I emailed Jeff Wise, a journalist who has covered John McAfee for over a dozen years.
And I kept on, he thinks I'm obsessed with him. he thinks I'm like, he's my white whale. He described me as his arch enemy, I think, at one point. First met him, he had started promoting this kind of dangerous low-level ultralight flying. After he moved down to Belize, he got into the bath salts. So he was getting into drugs, and he quickly alienated people.
MDPV. On December 12th, 2010, at 11...
Beware of the whale fucking photo of him. That's the same video that Will watched months ago. Where is the whale fucking photo? My man, whale fucking photo, dude. Play the video. No, I'm not gonna fucking keep playing the video if there is like...
7:47 p.m., he started a thread on a popular drug forum called bluelight.ru under the pseudonym Stuffmonger. There he evangelized about NDPV's hypersexuality-inducing effects, calling it super perv powder. He said it made him so horny that, quote, a 100 milligram dose will merely guarantee fatigue and sore genitals from the non-stop sex and keep you up for 24 hours. He also wrote that he liked to put the stuff up his butt. Quote, measure your dose, apply a small amount of saliva, just to the tip of your middle finger, press it against the dose, insert. You will be well rewarded.
Yes, I've taken bath salts, every fucking one of them. Things like MDPV. Fuck yes, I took them. I'm a goddamn psychonaut.
I have had a number of acquaintances, both male and female, who have rubbed their genitals way past the point of bleeding and still couldn't stop. A user on a large dose, if alone and presented with food, will figure out a way to fuck it, or shove it up the rectum. This is not a joke. Everything on the tan becomes a sex partner or sex aid. I will not, anymore, let anyone on tan be alone with my dogs. Twice in the past year, tan users, one man, one woman, both after major doses to be fair, attempted to have sex with one of my dogs. Okay, that's enough of that. Just check the thread out if you want to. It honestly is such a fun read. By the way, when he says tan, he's referring to the tan variant of MDPV, as opposed to the white version. Anyway, he also wrote that he was manufacturing MDPV himself. Specifically, that he was attempting to extract tan MDPV from white hydrochloride. He took pictures of the process and shared it onto the site. He wrote that his experiments resulted in a number of side effects, especially paranoia. Quote, I am my only test subject. I temporarily blinded myself for 3 hours. I had visual and auditory hallucinations and the worst paranoia of my life. I did not sleep for 4 days. So what I'm getting at is MDPV made Mccaffe two things: wildly paranoid and insatiably horny. Therefore, after building a compound in the middle of the jungle, he started to surround himself with prostitutes and local gangsters. And this is no joke. The dude had a harem of women living with him. Now this sounds like every man's fantasy, but in reality, it's messy. He wrote on his blog that discord was common, and said that each woman tried to kill him more than once. For example, Betsy, a young woman he met after one of his dogs ate her chicken, threatened to slash his throat many times. Another girl, who he called Amber 1, since there were two Ambers, pulled a knife on Betsy and, quote, alternated between love and hate for Tiffany. Another girl named Marley burst into his room with a gun while he was sleeping with Anna, and had slapped Jane's face more times than he could count.
Yeah, they would try to fight one another too.
The youngest
I think
girl
one of the main ladies tried to murder another one of the ladies.
A 17-year-old named Amy Emschwiller. She tried to shoot him while he was asleep, but missed, resulting in her bursting his eardrum. Still, he spent most of his time having a whole lot of sex.
His sex has to last long. I mean, you can't give him 1 or 2 hours. He wants like morning to day. I mean, like, you have to be in that bed from morning till the next day, and if you can continue till 7 days.
I don't know why Hassan said this dude was crazy. Yeah, no, totally normal libertarian behavior, by the way. Least pedophilic libertarian, yeah.
That's sex for him.
And he needed to because of the MDPV. And I guess the stuff also made certain fetishes more appealing.
Because he wanted to have, like...
Oh, this is from that documentary that I was talking about.
Sex. He used to make you shit in his mouth.
So what about the paranoia?
Okay, how are you gonna just skip that? Okay, this is crazy. He's just like jumping on. He's he literally just skipped one of the most important parts of John McAfee's life and sexual behavior. John McAfee would hire prostitutes who then he would subsequently date for extended periods of time. And he had what is known as a shit hammock. So what he would do is he would let ladies that you just saw lay on top of this hammock that he had that had a hole in the middle of it, which these ladies would lay on and then shit through. And he would stand underneath that hole with his mouth open. Yeah. How the fuck do you figure out you have that fetish? Be libertarian.
Inducing effects of MDPV. Well, Amy Emschweiler convinced him that the nearby town of Carmelita was full of gang members bent on robbing and killing him. She also told him that it was a hub of crime and narco-trafficking, so he decided to clean it up. There was no police station, so he built one. He put members of the local police force onto his payroll and had them patrol Carmelita. They collected information for him and made arrests based off of his orders. He also took the law into his own hands. One time, he pulled over a vehicle himself, only to uncover a car full of seniors and children. The village leaders were perplexed. They told Joshua Davis, quote, "He just showed up and started telling us what to do. I thought he would come by, introduce himself, and explain what he was doing here. But he never did." They wondered how and why McAfee came to the conclusion that Carmelita was, as he insisted, the most corrupt village on the planet.
You guys understand what I mean when I say this is literally like a libertarian dream, right? Like having your own micro-colonial project is like, I can't even think of a more libertarian thing to do than just like straight up just overtaking a small village in a developing nation, or like a fucking colony or whatever, wherever he was at this point. It's like, it is literally just like, it is Ancapistan. He built his own private colonial force.
He said he didn't talk to any of the village leaders because Emschwiller had told him that they were all criminals. He added that she secretly recorded them, thinking up a way to kill him with a grenade. Even though he said that, at the same time he was adding local gangsters into his inner circle. He claimed that there were 11 attempts on his life during the previous year, so he decided to hire protection. But in the process, McAfee became something akin to a gang leader. Former members of his inner circle told press that McAfee was trying to take over Carmelita and even the Belize government. Soon, he had created a network of gangsters and cops that were on his payroll. His head of security was a former corrupt cop who was caught trying to sell police weapons to drug dealers. He also hired a man named Austin Tino Allen, who had been put away a total of 28 times. McAfee dressed his guards in military fatigues and had them patrol Carmelita on the back of trucks. He also set an 8 o'clock curfew and told the villagers that if they break it, he would kill them.
For me, it's like this guy's dangerous. Now, even before he started killing people, I thought this is a guy who's wreaking havoc on people's lives.
After an elaborate game of cat and mouse, he squashed beef with a notorious Belizean gangster named Eddie Mac-10 McCoy and hired him. During the process of making this video, someone claiming to be Eddie Mac-10 McCoy contacted me on Instagram. At first I thought it was a troll, but then I noticed that the pictures on his page were photographs that weren't available anywhere online, and that piqued my interest. After he emailed me more photos, I started to believe that it was actually him. Once I confirmed it, I agreed to talk to him on Skype the following morning.
That interview is also from that documentary I was talking about. What is the name of that documentary? Is it Gringo?
Okay, why don't we go back and let's start with my first question. How did you meet John McAfee?
Well, I met him. You remember how? So it was a lie. Well, it's a long story, you know.
So it doesn't have anything to do with David Middleton?
Well, it had something to do with that, yes.
McAfee had allegedly paid some local hitmen to beat and publicly execute a man named David Middleton after he had robbed one of McAfee's properties. They beat him in the bush and attacked him with knives and tasers. Then they ran over his head with a truck in front of a crowd in Carmelita. After slipping into a coma, he died in hospital later that night.
Middleton told police that he had been abducted, beaten, and stabbed by two men who came to...
At this point, it's like the second kill that he has under his belt that we know of. If you were to consider the paragliding incident or whatever that little like baby plane is called to be another death under his belt.
To his house in Orange Walk. He says he did not know either of the men who drove a white pickup truck. He died on Friday at the KHMH, and it is now a murder investigation.
Since Mac 10 and Middleton were friends, McAfee assumed Mac 10 wanted revenge. Meanwhile, Mac 10 heard McAfee was out to get him, so he went into hiding. McAfee had his men looking for Mac 10 until he got a hold of him on the phone, and they agreed to meet. Mac 10 showed up with an AK-47, uncharacteristically, while McAfee's guards were all armed with shotguns.
Uncharacteristically.
Their 12-gauge shotguns were no match for the firepower of Mac 10's AK, so McAfee decided to relocate the meeting to a San Pedro cafe, and that's where they settled their differences. When George Lavelle, the country's Minister of National Security, caught wind of what McAfee was up to, he spearheaded an investigation. He couldn't figure out what McAfee would be doing, associating with notorious criminals like Mac 10, unless he was involved in the drug trade himself. When McAfee met Mac 10 at the cafe, he arrived guarded by a member of the police force, as well as 2 known gang members. To Marco Vidal, head of the gang suppression unit, it seemed like, quote, McAfee's intention was to make it categorically clear to Mac 10 that he controlled both legitimate and illegitimate armed forces. Then the authorities received information that McAfee might be distributing and manufacturing meth, and it made sense. As New York Times reporter David Segal put it, a rich guy in the middle of the jungle with a lab surrounded by a lot of men with weapons and links to area bad guys. It looked highly suspicious to the gang suppression unit. Plus, there were all those blue light posts of McAfee basically incriminating himself, so they raided his compound. The search uncovered weapons scattered throughout the property. What they found was 7 12-gauge pump-action shotguns, 2 9mm pistols, and 5 air rifles. They also found $19,650 in cash stashed away in McAfee's bedroom.
So this is the most important part of the story, is that John McAfee hyped himself up as this like dangerous criminal in it just routinely and consistently, but like the drugs that he was trying to develop were not real and did not fucking work. Like, and he himself was like, you know, I mean, he operated this way in Belize, like where the dollar goes a very long way. You know what I mean? Like he was like a budget gangster. Like he wasn't really a serious gangster, I guess.
And bricks of an unknown substance which McAfee seemed to be manufacturing. The stuff tested similarly to methamphetamine, but it was not an illegal substance. However, it was most likely MDPV. McAfee spent most of the night in jail until the U.S. Embassy intervened and he was let go.
The last day of April of this year, I woke up at 6 in the morning to 42 armed soldiers in full riot gear carrying automatic weapons storming my property in Orange Walk on the river. I was held in handcuffs behind my back in the sun for 14 hours without food or water. At one point, by the way, I asked a guard for food and water, not just for me, but for everyone else. The guard's response was, "Do I look like a chef to you?" Now, indeed, he did not look like a chef, so it was my mistake, but it was not a pleasant day. From that moment on, I've had nothing but problems with the Belizean government.
McAfee said publicly that he believed that the GSU raid was a direct result of refusing to donate $2 million to an Orange Walk politician's campaign. Then he said it was because of his refusal to assist the Prime Minister's son, Shine, who's a rapper by the way, to gain an early release from an American prison in 2009. The GSU put out the following statement. The GSU makes no apology for deeming a person in control of a laboratory with no approval for manufacturing any substance, having gang connections and heavily armed security guards, as a person of interest. In late May of 2012, McAfee wrote that he was on the run from the GSU onto a private message board. He wrote, "I am hiding in an undisclosed location. I have 21% charge remaining. The GSU have issued additional charges. My lawyers tell me there is absolutely nothing to worry."
The buzzing is in the background. I'm not buzzing. It's in the background. God damn, dude. Zoomers have like the most fragile fucking hearing. They get so annoying when they hear anything that's like a little When they hear anything that's like a little out of the norm, they're like, dude, this is literally the biggest inconvenience I've ever seen or heard in my entire life. Not as big as an inconvenience as running a top of the hour ad, though. However, top of the hour, every hour, there's a 6-second ad break. But having said that, there is a way to avoid said ads. You can't avoid the buzzing in the video, so shut the fuck up. But you can avoid the ad break at the top of the hour. How can you do that? Well, by subscribing with either an Amazon Prime account or with an Amazon Prime. You can subscribe for free, or with a $5 subscription, you can subscribe for $5, or you can use an ad blocker or VPN. Here's the ad break now. Let's go. Bryce got more respected with all these noises. Oh, I forgot to mention. I'll talk about that later, but yeah, Rice Gummin and I are setting up a basketball situation right now. Yeah.
Worry about, so that makes me very worried. I'm down to 12% charge. I will leave you. A few days after his dramatic post, he was seen riding around in Ambergris Key in a golf cart accompanied by his 17-year-old girlfriend. Sometime later, journalist Joshua Davis woke up to a call from Mccaffe. It was 3 a.m. and Mccaffe sounded frantic and scared. Davis wrote that he spoke in a breathless, spooked tone and sounded genuinely unhinged. He told Davis that while walking on the beach at dusk, the GSU followed him on golf carts.
I was walking down south on the beach, and suddenly I hear and see the GSU vehicle.
Mccaffe says he ran towards a nearby hotel's porch and found shelter behind some bushes.
I got on the porch with some bushes around it on one of the Captain Morgan's buildings. As soon as I did that, I heard someone clear their throat up above me. Like this. Mm-hmm. Then one of the other guys came running over, didn't say a word. No one said a fucking word to me at all.
Then he said he was holed up there all night as they silently converged around him while cloaked in the darkness.
No one talked to me. No one said a word. You'd have no idea how scary it is to be surrounded by men with armed, with in their big uniforms with these big fucking guns, and no one is saying a word. They just surround you and stand still. Think about it. Freaky shit, sir. Freaky shit.
He remains completely still, in fear that if he moved even an inch, the GSU would surely kill him.
And were you talking to them?
No, I didn't say a word. I didn't open my mouth. I didn't budge for the entire time. I was afraid that if I moved at all, someone would shoot me for...
Were you standing, or were you sitting, or...?
I was sitting down.
He says after hours of waiting, they finally retreated.
GSU is the gang unit in Belize that was tracking his movements.
Did quietly and disappeared.
No one said anything to me. It was freaky. It was freaky. It was freaky.
To me, it sounds like he's talking about shadow people. Quote, shadow people are often accompanied by other coinciding effects such as delirium, paranoia, anxiety, and feelings of impending doom. This tends to be a symptom of overusing stimulants such as...
Your title should be 40-year-old sexually deprived degenerate man viciously tries to act smart in front of thousands of brain-dead children. Damn, bro. Yo, you fired that off, dude. That was a fucking good one, brother. Here's that attention that you wanted desperately, my friend. I read it too. Pretty good. Oh, this is another repressed, horny fucking weirdo who went from... Bro, stop bitching about pronouns. Just talk important stuff. Give me that sexy ass. Why is it that these people always start off being like incredibly horny? They come in here super horny, and then I guess when I don't give them the attention, they just get really mad. There you go, man. I gave you the attention, and now I will never even think about you for the rest of my life.
MDPV.
He would talk.
If you died tomorrow, I would not even know, and my life would not even change remotely. Insignificant.
About his hitmen. He would talk about how he could have people hurt or killed, and You know, honestly, I was scared.
Although Mccaffe was initially interested in bankrolling the development of a topical antiseptic, he decided to switch the company's focus towards manufacturing a drug that could stimulate the female libido. Alice.
It's mean. I'm sorry. Dumbass trolls are incredibly insignificant in my life. Sorry. It's just the fucking truth.